Good enough. Got my vape pen if you want some vape.
Oh, I can't.
You want a vape, dude? You love to vape. You're a vapor. Do you still
I just
vape?
can't do weed. Not really.
No? Did you
had to
quit
quit.
vaping?
I had to. It was out of control.
You were, it was a habit.
No, yeah, I was out of control.
It was like a pacifier. You literally had a vape in your mouth or your hand at all times.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't like smoke other than like, once in a while, car drinking or something.
Yeah.
Forever. And then at 36 or 35 at the time, I started like vaping, and I just go, has to stop.
You were. It was like, yeah, you were.
It was about 8 months. It was a pandemic edition.
But you were vaping before the pandemic too, a little bit.
No, not like. I never
that.
bought one.
Yeah. Oh. You never buy cigarettes either, but you always seem
exactly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the How to Do Drugs podcast. I'm your host, Alia Janine, and today I have Ryan Long on from all the way from Canada. How is the Great White North?
I went back to Canada.
Yeah. And
it's such a mess to go back. So you have to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
Then you have to have a 24 hours.
Like quarantine?
No, 24 hours. You have to get a test within 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
Then at the airport, they test you again. And then they want you to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Oh, when you come back in the United States?
Yeah, but why?
Yeah. If you keep getting all those tests.
No, quarantine in Canada.
Oh.
So you're supposed to. But they used to make you go in a hotel. And they wanted to monitor. So they just stopped that. So that's why I went back.
That's
I haven't seen like my family in 2 years or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I went back.
That's crazy. Is that like if you come to the States, do you have to quarantine or no?
No.
Oh.
It used to.
Yeah.
It used to, but you don't have I'm at one point we were on tour and my friend Danny was in 3 different quarantines. Well, because right now I'm back in New York and I'm still getting messages like, "How's Date's 13-year quarantine?" I'm like, "I left your country a year ago."
Yeah, I'm like a fucking year.
Yeah.
Be like, I'm already dead.
I know. So, but once they're there, and also once you finish at the airport, you're outside of the airport and the door's right there, and you could literally just like hop over the rope and walk out to a cab.
Yeah.
But I didn't. But you wait for 2 hours in this huge line.
Oh, and the snake lines
to get your test,
whatever.
even though you're vaccinated and just got tested.
I've been vaccinated, and ever since I've been vaccinated, I have not been tested like the true whore that I am. It's like they have that HPV vaccination.
Yeah.
Be like, I can have unprotected sex now. It's totally fine. Everything is wonderful.
No, it does make 0 sense. But Canada, they just kind of open stuff up. It's wild.
Yeah, I guess the numbers in New York are going up. It used to be down to 0, and now we're up to like 20, almost 30 people are dying in the whole state, not in just whatever. I'm over it. I think everyone should just get it. It is kind of like HPV if you're not vaccinated or if you didn't get it or don't have it.
It's up to you. But I mean, New York, they basically said you basically can't live or work if you don't get vaccinated.
Yeah. They're doing that. I don't know. Someone was talking about like the key thing. And I'm like, oh, where you just have to show your vaccination. And I'm like, that's kind of like showing your ID. So I don't know.
What's the key thing?
Well, it's like, I guess, this app where you could show that you are vaccinated. Like, I have, like, the hospital that I went to has an app, and it has, like, the little...
I just have a card.
Yeah, and the fucking card. You have that, too, yeah. I'm keeping that, though. It's like, you can't fit it in your wallet. You can't laminate it. I have a laminate machine. I was like, let me laminate it. So
and then what if you lose it? What happens?
Maybe
you're back to square one?
Maybe you could get another one. There's people literally selling them. They're just like fake ones.
There was a guy in Canada, actually. So he was a doctor, and he was selling vaccination cards on Craigslist for $10.
That's actually really cheap.
And they're like putting him on trial to go to jail for 10 years per card.
Oh.
Like they're gonna put him in jail for life potentially for selling fake vaccination cards.
That's insane. I remember because my mom, when I was in high school, she was a nurse, and she used to just give me because I got in trouble for writing so many fake notes when I lived with my father. I was able to forge his signature, and that was freshman year. And then when I went to live with my mom sophomore year, they kind of caught on. Because it was like another half a year, and they're like, she's going to be truant. And they just had the stack of notes, because they didn't know I moved back in with my mom. They thought I still lived with my dad.
Right.
And so they just had this stack of fucking notes that I forged. They're like, oh, you live with your dad now. Okay, well, your mom needs to write They didn't show them to her, thank God, because that would have been like, oh, I'm totally fucked. But after a while, there were certain jobs and stuff where I needed like a doctor's note, and so she would just give me a prescription pad to write these doctor's notes, just to say that like, oh, I can't make it into work or something like that. Like at the strip club, I would get fined if like I called in or something like that, unless I had a doctor's note.
Wow.
So she's like, please don't write out like any prescriptions, right? I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to begin to do that. One, two, I'm like, I told her, I'm like, I've never been a pill person unless it's ecstasy, Mom. I'm like, those aren't my kind of drugs. Yeah. But if those were my type of drugs, oh my God, I would have been a fucking millionaire or dead in a gutter somewhere. But yeah, there's some dude on Facebook. He's like, oh, I got some cards if you guys need cards, and I'm like, oh God, that's just gonna prolong shit even more though.
You shouldn't put that out there. That's risky business.
Yeah, and especially
you gotta keep that on the down low.
Especially on fucking like he has with the picture. I'm like, I'm glad he didn't have his face in it. And be like, look what I got for you.
I definitely know of people that are doing stuff like that, but not publicly. Like, what are you, stupid?
And I guess, like, you could sell them for, like, $500 a pop here in the U.S.
Yeah.
I'm like, or you could just get the vaccine for free.
And but people don't want to get it.
They really don't. It is, it's kind of funny. I don't know. Like, do you still get your tetanus booster every 10 years?
No. I didn't get anything like that.
Yeah, anytime you go to the doctor, like, let's say you have to go to the emergency room for something, they'll ask you to be like, when's the last time you've had a tetanus shot? Because it's about every 10 years.
Oh, maybe I was bit with a dog. Maybe I got one then.
Possibly, yeah. When were you bit by the dog?
Like 25 years ago.
Well, that would normally be like a rabies shot, and that's like a series. I think it's like a series of like 40 shots in your stomach or something like that. If the dog or any animal.
No, but America, I mean, you know, like put it this way: in Canada, it's 80% of people have it. In America, it's like 50-50 or something.
Yeah.
People just.
We like our freedom.
People don't want to be told what to do here.
They really don't. Well, we've had this problem with other, like, vaccination type things, too, with, like, polio and smallpox, like you've seen. I read about. It's just like, oh, we're literally just repeating history. It's like, have we not learned? We don't like to learn from history, Americans. Maybe it's because our history is a lie.
Yeah.
For the most part.
You know, it depends on the thing. Like, it kind of is a tug and pull because like in Canada, for example, maybe you say on the vaccination thing, like, good, you agree that everyone should get vaccinated. Yeah. But then it's the same principle that's why they were way more locked down. Yeah. So it's like, it's easy to be like, get rid of our freedoms when you disagree, when you like agree with the side that's trying to take them away. Yeah. But then it'll be a month later it'll be something that you want to do and then they take it away.
Yeah, so yeah. I think people should get vaccinated. This whole like vaccine passport thing, like where you do need it to like get into clubs and stuff like that as a patron. I think that maybe.
I'll say I disagree with what they're doing over there too. Like in those places where they go. The businesses are getting fined for asking for it. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, everyone's just so extreme. Like, in New York, they're like, anyone who, you know, you can't have a job without it. And there they go, if the business even asks for you, they get fined. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I mean,
because there's
ideally
certain medical laws and stuff like that. Yeah, because I remember in porn, someone had hacked our first aim as this testing facility, and it was the first like testing facility meant, you know, solely for adult performance. Obviously, other people could go, but it was meant for the adult industry. So we had this database. So people.
Guy only looks at nice pieces of dick.
It was like after the first.
That'd be a bad job, if you were like had a small dick and it's like you're just looking at dudes coming in with like massive.
Be pieces. Like, all right, you could pass. You pass. Yeah. But it was this great clip, but someone had hacked into it, or they didn't hack into it, but they used to be a producer, and so they just gathered all these people's like medical information and posted it online, and it's huge, like HIPAA violations and stuff like that. So yeah, so like certain people asking for like a regular bar asking a patron if they're vaccinated, like that's a HIPAA violation. I want to say like I'm not 100% sure, but it seems like that's a violation of privacy. Kind of thing. So it is I
mean, they made it a partisan thing like everything else. Like to me it's like the same as abortion now in America where like New York goes, oh, we made a new law that you can have an abortion up until it's like the 3 day before it's born. Yeah. And then Texas goes, okay, well, we actually dialed it back a little bit. And then once something like becomes partisan, and I think that I kind of blame, in my opinion, and maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think the Republicans are guilty, but I think the Democrats start it because they know that if they make it a partisan thing, they can get everyone on their team in line.
Yeah.
So like the Democrats basically are like, if you're against this, you're a Republican.
Yeah.
Which means you're racist.
Yeah.
So everyone goes, no, okay, then I'm for it.
Yeah.
And then they set these like lines in the sand. So it's like, I mean, the Republicans do it too, but I think I see it more the other way where they
oh yeah, no, the Democrats are definitely bullies. Be like, everyone knows that we're the better party, and it's like,
right.
Well, maybe
so once
you are, but
that,
you don't do anything.
And once they say that, now they can use that to be like, if you're in our club, you're against, and they make the things partisan.
Yeah.
So then they go, well, why don't these people want to do it? It's like, well, because you told them their team doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Like they literally are like, oh, if you don't get vaccinated, you're a Republican. Well, now they're saying on their side, well, if you do, you're a Democrat, and they hate you as much as you hate them.
Yeah, so you're just stuck in the middle where you're like, fuck it, I'll become a libertarian.
Yeah, well, but even that, perfect example, like, how many liberals in the last little while ago, if you're libertarians are actually just Republicans.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, now libertarians are against it.
It is, I know that a lot of, like, Fox News anchors in the beginning are like, don't get vaccinated, and then they're, like, all vaccinated. It's...
Well, because it's weird. That's even the weirdest part about it, because Trump was down with it.
Yeah, he's like, get vaccinated. You guys should definitely get vaccinated.
This is the actual truth. It was the old conservatives agree with new liberals on, like, maximum safety.
Yeah. That's actually
all
true.
cost. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a 20-year-old in Brooklyn and you're a 60-year-old conservative, for the most part, you're going to agree, like, safety. Like conservatives they agree, but the liberals said, I think that they're getting new conservatives to be like, fuck the vaccine, because they don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But like, that's even this, like Fox News people, I think for the most part got vaccinated.
No, they're all vaccinated.
They're safe. Like,
now they're telling people, but before I guess it was available or whatever, they're like, oh, you should be watch out for it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, we have to get vaccinated. Then they're vaccinated.
Your average Christian conservative isn't about freedom. They're just about they're about like
control.
They want the government
It's compliance.
but they just want their version of it.
Yeah. It'd be like, well, I want to do it on my own recognizance. It's like just get fucking vaccinated so that way you can just go back to normal.
Well, see, that's the part that I disagree with. So all of this is...
Well, I mean, not everybody should, because some people it will, like, fuck up.
No, I'm not even saying that. Like, most of the stuff I don't even disagree. It's like everyone can have their opinion. But because there's no right or wrong on a personal what you think, I guess, right? But the part that I disagree with, where they go, just get vaccinated, it'll go back to normal, it's like, well, that's what they told me, and it didn't.
Oh, well, yeah.
So I'm like, well, put it this way, it's already back to normal in Miami, and you go, well, they're not vaccinated and it's back to normal, and they're like, yeah, but here you have to get vaccinated, and you go, okay, well, most of us did, and nothing changed.
Yeah, nothing really changed.
So, I mean, it's like, pardon me if I don't believe the government. Like, they're like, well, it's that guy's fault that, I don't know, you go, okay, or something more is going on here.
Well, we always need to blame somebody.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah. And
now they found their new person to blame. They're like,
the Delta variant, is that what we're blaming it on?
No, they're blaming people that don't, they go,
oh, the non-vaxxers or whatever.
They go, the reason that things need to still be like this is because they won't get vaccinated.
That's not necessarily 100% true. My cousin, God bless her heart, backwoods of Wisconsin, has never left. High school education.
Nice.
Doesn't believe in any vaccinations at all. Like,
she's old school anti-vax.
Super,
OG.
The OG anti-vax. To the point where her husband, we're not friends on Facebook anymore, but my other cousin I saw on her page commenting, I'm like, what's she up to? And I looked, and her husband got bit by a brown recluse. Now, you can't die necessarily from this unless you're super allergic, but it can fuck up, like, your skin, like, it gets brown, like, it will kill some shit. He's been sick for weeks now, like, out of work sick because of the spider bite, and they've only been doing, like, homeopathic type shit. And she's like, if someone wants to come over and, like, donate some money so we can make these herbs, I'm like, there comes a point where people are literally just kind of killing themselves. It's like, just go. They have a medicine that's super great for that shit.
Yeah.
And you'll be better. You'll be able to go to work. So it's like, when it comes to like stuff like that, like I tried to get the shingles vaccine and they're like, oh, you're too young because I guess you have to wait until you're 50 or whatever. I'm like, I want it now though, because my mom had shingles and they're fucking horrible. And I was like, they have a vaccine, I'll fucking take it. I collect vaccines like Pokemon cards.
But then you smoke.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I take the vaccine so I can live my degenerate fucking lifestyle. I like to drink and I like to smoke, and if this drug is going to keep me alive a little bit longer...
Yeah.
From my bad habits.
I think a lot of those people aren't, especially there's a lot of like people that are 30 and they're kind of like, oh, you're going to, die of COVID. And they're like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not.
No.
And statistically, by an enormous margin, they're not.
Yeah, no, they're not.
So then they go, oh, well, you're going to pass it on other people. And they go, well, they're vaccinated, so who cares? And they go, well, some of them aren't. It's like, well, that's their problem.
That's their fault,
and I think a lot of people see it like that.
Yeah, it's just, now it's...
And then on top, and then they go, oh, like... I think the people that say they're like really worried about the vaccine, where they go, oh, I'm really worried that the like it's not tested and all that kind of stuff. I feel like most of them, and this is, people would probably hate this, but like my opinion is that like that's part of something they already are against.
Yeah, and to begin with, because a lot of people who get vaccinated, regularly, if you travel overseas to a certain country, you have to get certain vaccinations. I know a lot of my military friends, they literally get stuck with fucking everything.
So I know a lot of people, they're like normally like not cautious people, and they're like, well, maybe it's gonna be bad, and you go, I don't believe that you're worried about this.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe you're worried about that part, but I do believe that you are against it for these other reasons. You're adding that to the pile. At least people.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I don't care. I'll get fucking vaccinated. That's the funny part too, is that me and my cousin, like, we used to every summer, like, go to this doctor. Like, we would have our allergy test or whatever. We all got fucking vaccinated. I remember they had to do like a blood test, and it was just like a prick on my finger, and I cried like a little bitch. Just like, and I'm the eldest cousin too. I was just like, this hurts so. I don't know why I was so extra, but I distinctly remember that, because my other two younger cousins are like, what is the matter with her? It was like the least painful of the things that we got done that day. I was like, it hurt my finger. Kids are awesome. So glad I don't have any. You don't want kids, do you?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Depends on, like, I'm still, like, moving and shaking in the sense that, like, I just moved to a new country. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to settle here. Yeah. There's so many, like, factors that I think I would want figured out. Yeah. I think it would be better to make that, like, but,
Because how old you're 36 now?
36, yeah.
But dudes gotta have kids all the way up until they die.
But it's not,
they just get more retarded as you get older.
Yeah, I guess a little. It's not on my agenda right now. I'm too living like a pirate life.
It is the best of lives, to be perfectly honest. I could still have children, I just have to cook it in somebody else, which is actually, I think, the superior way of having. Yeah. And then I kind of want to have one now just because I can't have one. And then just, like, see what it would look like, and then maybe abort it, you know what I mean?
Decide.
Yeah, be like, I don't know if I like this one. Just get rid of it. If I had that type of money, just, like, all the eggs that I have left, let's just pop them into, like, 10 different ladies and see
a redhead.
Ooh, absolutely not. That's the devil's child. Abort.
Yeah.
I think that's called murder, but whatever. It's totally fine. So drugs, other drugs, fun ones. Yeah. Drugs that we all like.
Woo!
Now, we have partied together a few times. You don't smoke a lot of weed. When you do, you get quiet. You do get a little quiet.
I do get quiet?
Yeah, a little quiet. It is funny when you smoke weed, though.
If I'm, like, drunk enough, I don't get quiet.
Yeah.
But I think I do get a little quiet when smoking weed, yeah.
You get very in your thoughts.
A little, yeah.
You're a thinker.
I mean, a lot of people have talked about this, but like how much drugs affect different people differently. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the thing that those kind of drugs, like weed, for example, acid, probably a few other drugs like that, the way that they the way that they react to my mind is like adding something that I already have a ton of.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So it's like how the way that it makes me feel. It's like I already am, like, I don't know if, like, sensitive to things is the word, but like so.
Like to your surroundings, kind of like an empath.
I think so.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that I don't love weed. It's not that I don't hate it. It's just like I don't really like. It doesn't enhance. I like don't like it.
It doesn't enhance anything.
Maybe I do not like it, but I don't mind it. I don't know. I do it sometimes. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just never do it, and I'm just like, oh hell yeah.
I need to smoke some weed right now.
Yeah, it's always like fine.
Yeah, that is true. When you're out, I'll be like, okay, I'll have some weed.
Yeah, I'm never like fuck that rule. But I am like that with like MDMA.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of ecstasy?
No, but I used to do like MDMA probably a decent amount when I was like younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Canada, how's
probably like whatever, like 50 times.
I couldn't even count. That's like trying to remember how many sexual partners I've had. There's no way I could remember that.
But well, the thing is, I had like a really, really bad mushroom trip.
Oh no.
Where I was like, so I was in college at University of Guelph in Canada, and then I did like a whole ton of mushrooms, and we used to do a lot of mushrooms, and then I smoked like way too. We like hotboxed a car, and when I was like on you know, I don't know, like 4 or 5 grams of mushrooms, right? And then I still have some, but so I did like, and then we hotboxed this car, and then I just started feeling like super crazy. So it was the weed mixed with the mushrooms, but I just really went into like a black hole in my head where I don't know what you know when they say people are like. Schizophrenic tendencies. So my brain like split, it felt like.
Okay.
And I felt like the like 2 sides of my brain were fighting or whatever. So I had to like leave everyone and go back. And then it really was like a war in my head, it felt like. And everyone's had like little bits of this, but it really like wouldn't stop for like 5-6 hours.
What was the war about? What were you fighting?
Well, it's kind of weird because it's almost like your normal self is trying to fight with this other part of yourself, but you can't outsmart it because it's you
taking over.
So like it's almost, I don't know the exact way to put it, but it would be the equivalent of like you're like, okay, Ryan, whatever, it's, you know, fine, and your other part of your brain's like, that's adorable that you think you're just gonna like trick your way. Oh yeah, that's gonna work.
Your shadow self or your dark self.
You're
or
like,
whatever.
this is so pathetic. Like what you think, like look, you're so pathetic. And you just like living your stupid little thing, like, oh, you're just gonna outsmart the trip, you fucking loser.
Right, like you're on this drug right now, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's just like you're so fucking sad. It's very like that kind of aggression.
Oh no, because you were so fucked up, and your brain was just like, you're an idiot for like doing this much. Maybe.
No, it's even like it's more all encompassing.
Okay.
Like you're so fucking pathetic.
Oh
and then it's like, and then you're like, don't worry, like this will be gone tomorrow, and it's like, oh, let me go on tomorrow, like you fucking loser. Like, it's that, like that's the kind of like bullying that your own brain's doing to you.
Yeah, I mean, people's brains do that a lot anyway. You have that like negative voice in your head, that negative self-talk, and sometimes it can be, it could get louder. When you're on drugs, maybe you were going through something during that time in your life when you took them.
I wasn't.
No, not at all. Maybe you just had some like deep-seated shit with yourself.
I don't know. I don't know if I think so, but I think that I'm that cynical sometimes with other people. Like, you know what I mean? I think I'm just
like you are very hard on yourself. Like you do, like you always want, like you are a little bit of a perfectionist,
right,
and stuff like that. So I could see that being like. That being your negative.
But maybe I'm that with other things. Like if I'm, like, you know, I might watch something when I'm high too and be like, look at this. This is garbage.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe I'm like that, but it was like, yeah, it's you are normally. I think that's combined with like warmth, where it's like all the warmth is removed. And it's only like just the coldest, like evilest stepmother.
Oh, you know no, I mean? Yeah. Oh, so you don't.
Well, it's only darkness.
Yeah.
It's only darkness. So
that trip was just darkness for you.
But it didn't. But the problem was, so this lasted like 48 hours where I couldn't leave my room. Like it really got bad. So I wouldn't leave my room. I wouldn't talk to my friends or whatever. And it didn't really go away for like a month.
Okay, so it kind of stuck with you a little bit.
Where I was like weird.
Like that after. I've had a couple of trips like that where like things that I thought of like have definitely stuck with me where I'm like, oh fuck, is this really like a thing? And especially when you take something.
It kind of like messed up my brain.
Yeah, especially when you take something like mushrooms, because it is supposed to help, like it does bring out, like help with depression.
But it wasn't, I will say again, it wasn't the mushrooms, it was the weed.
Oh, the combination of the two?
Yeah. I would say if it was the ton of weed,
Mm-hmm.
and the mushrooms made the weed worse.
Okay.
I know that I was on mushrooms when I smoked weed, but my guess would be, I don't think this kind of shit would have happened to me just on mushrooms.
Okay, because you've done mushrooms since then, right? And been fine.
With no weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably will never do that again.
But I've had like similar kind of things start when I was just smoking weed after that.
Wow, I've never had those types of thoughts on weed. Maybe just because I've also been smoking and doing, smoking pot since I was like 13, 14 years old, pretty consistent.
You know what it'd be equivalent of if you had a parent that like was really like, you're a fucking nothing loser.
Stepmom?
Right. But imagine she knew what you were going to say before you said it.
Oh,
so as soon as you started saying anything, she already knew that.
Yeah.
Because it's your head.
It's your head, yeah.
So that was like kind of what the way to describe it was. But yeah, so then after that, like I kind of decided that I don't think I'll do acid because I know multiple people that like did acid and weren't the same.
Oh no! So you've never tried acid before?
No, I don't.
It's definitely it's stronger and it's similar, but it is at the same time.
I just don't think I want to
different.
like mess with my brain
Like
to that capacity when I'm like thinking for a living.
Yeah. See, I don't like acid has never really affected me like that.
But it might not. Yeah.
Yeah, the mushrooms have definitely like where I said. Have made me, like weeks later, like think about the things that I thought of. Acid, on the other hand, has never made me do that. I remember my mom telling me this story about like they all took some acid and this dude like went missing for a couple of days and they found him like naked, like strolling on some backcountry fucking road in Wisconsin, like naked with scratches on his body because he thought he was like a banana or an orange and like had to peel off his skin or something like that. And I'm
think about that. What's the chances of that happening to you now? 0.
Yeah.
The chances of you happening on acid, even if it's 1 in whatever, like it's there's like there's no shortage of people that I mean there's just no shortage of people that have like screwed up their brain from acid.
Well, the Unabomber, right? Because they that documentary where they're like, oh, they tested a bunch of fucking acid and fucked with him.
Okay.
For a long time, and then he ended up like blowing up a bunch of shit later because he was super smart. You didn't know that about the Unabomber? What's his name? Ted Consistency or whatever his name.
I've heard people say that guy's like a genius.
Oh yeah, no, he was like super fucking smart, and then he did some fucking weird experiments. I forgot what school it was. One of the like Stanford or Harvard, like one of the bigger name like Ivy League ones, but where they did a bunch, or was it military? I have to fucking look it up. I should know this shit. But yeah, where he did. They gave him a bunch of acid and like fucked with him, and then that's what made him kind of snap and like go live out like. Well,
you're a delicate, like people have like a delicate balance, right? And you work hard to like, okay, bump up this one. Maybe if you were like low in confidence, like you try to bump up that a little with these things, or maybe you're like
cocaine would be a good
or whatever. Like like you get in shape helps this. Like you're such a balance, and just to throw this huge like wrench into it, like if it's. I don't know. For some people, probably, if the wrench is like the right thing, maybe it's fine. But if the wrench is like the wrong thing, people have had the wrong. There's this guy I went to high school with that like he broke into the high school and started like stacking chairs, and then he went to the insane asylum and like was always not the same.
Yeah. Well, I think like.
So I was just like, I know a few of those stories where I go, Danny knows a guy that like did too much acid and like. He's like totally like can barely speak, like all this shit. So I go, I don't know. So I just like, all right, I don't think I'm gonna do that.
I've definitely there's been a couple of times I've definitely have taken too much acid where I felt like my brain was melting.
Right.
But not like.
Like afterwards, you were messed up.
No, yeah, not messed up, but just like where it hurt, like my head hurt, where it felt like it was kind of like a migraine, and I'm like, oh, maybe there's too much acid in my brain right now, but never to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna go crazy, because acid was one of the first drugs that I ever did, even before like I really got stoned. Alcohol doesn't necessarily count, but yeah, like I would take it in high school and like be around people and just like have to function normally. Wow. So I think a lot of times. Because maybe I started doing like those types of drugs and those types of situations that like it doesn't affect me. But now like there has been that point where I'm like, I wonder how much acid I could take or I would need to take for like something like that to happen. Because I would be crazy enough to be like just to like get that limit, like push that limit, be like heroin and be like, this is how much would kill you. I'd be like, okay, just a little bit less than that or something.
Yeah. Well, do you know that thing where like how you're like standing on a balcony and you're kind of like, I could just jump or whatever. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh,
that
especially
kind of thing,
on my roof, because that's fucking.
Yeah, it's like that. I think there's a term for it, but it's that like you kind of have the urge to like jump in front of the train. You know what I mean? You're not gonna do
just
it.
to see. Yeah, I mean, I thought about that doing that without being on drugs, though. So.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So my point is that.
The drugs will make some people want.
I don't think it'll make you do that, but I'm saying it's like, you know, the part where your brain's like, we could just go crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm saying that would maybe happen. It's almost like you're almost like this thing's attacking your brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of like, if this goes wrong, it's gonna like really fuck you up. If you have like a bad trip, like you start going down a spiral, like you know, all those things that could happen. You're sort of playing that like chicken with your own brain.
Yeah.
And
I get that.
And I'm saying that sometimes it like I think that's what happens. It's like your brain does a metaphorical like jumping off the thing. Mm-hmm. Let's do it, and then people don't come back.
And then they don't come back.
Maybe I don't know.
I think there have been people. Oh shit. And we're back after. It was a ghost. It was our shadow selves coming out. It doesn't want us to know.
That's what happens when you start talking about that kind of stuff. It's not meant for humans.
It's so bad for humans to have that knowledge about their own brains, how evil they are to us.
Yeah, it's a law, obviously, that made that decision.
It's like we can't. The CIA was listening and shut it down.
They're always listening. I do feel like that right now. Like it's the most.
Especially like you.
No, I just feel like they're out looking for code words and stuff. Yeah. Especially if you like listen to a certain person. I bet you. I don't know. I really do feel like people are ending up on lists, and I'm not wrong. That.
Oh no! I know my dad has been on like the secret. Like my uncle has actually been on the FBI's most wanted list before.
For what?
Well, he used to be a member of the Outlaws. He was a national enforcer for the Outlaws, and my father has definitely been on the Secret Service watch list just because he was at some VVA Veterans of America convention that Al Gore was speaking at, and he had made a joke about Clinton dying. This is when Al Gore was vice president. Like Clinton being murdered in the elevator, and by the time he got up to his room, there was already Secret Service because he does have like a record, and he was in Vietnam, so they. With that, I know the Secret Service knows who I am.
But they look at your chats and stuff, even.
Oh, I don't. That's the thing. People are like, my privacy. I'm like, look at how much we sign away on like apps and stuff like that. Just with that alone, when cell phones, like, I didn't get like a fancy cell phone until like I really needed to for like work and stuff, and then.
Well, I mean, so that's obviously like the argument where it's like, okay, listen, you So if you're not private, but you're putting everything online, it's like, well, there's a big difference between a company having it and the government having it. I mean, there is a big difference. Like one can put you in jail, and one can't. Right? So when people are like, well, what do you already gave away your privacy. It's like, well, yeah, not to people that can put me in jail.
Yeah, I gave it to Instagram, not to the CIA.
And then they just give it over anytime. But I don't. It is one of those things where it's just like, it's all working, they're all working together. So this is like conspiratorial or whatever, but it's true. Yeah. They make, like, these organizations make these lists of, like, people that are bad. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Like AL or something, you know?
I'm on a customer service, like, for being a horrible person.
So all these lists are there. Yeah. Then they have these, like, code words of, people that... maybe listen to them. Or
like they have like a specific language.
Thing. Maybe you said
pedophiles,
like
drug dealers.
Perfect example. Let's just go the farthest. Look at the extreme where everyone would agree. They go. Yeah. They know if you're looking at like child porn on your phone, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, they're starting. Okay. They have this program where they want to implement that, where they can be able to see if you're looking at child porn.
Yeah, like they can't already. Right? Now they go down to like you're listening to the wrong person, and which you might even be, let's say you were listening to someone that you didn't like to be like, what is this guy saying? Like you could all see a way where someone that's a comedian, that everyone's like, this guy's a white supremacist or something, and you're like, what are they actually saying? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Now you're on a list.
Now you're just on that list.
Like I always listen to like I would easily be like. This Taliban guy's giving a speech, like, what is he saying? Let me listen to that, right? Mm-hmm. But you could see versions where they're like, hey, did this guy just listen to 10 Taliban podcasts? Like, now you're on a list.
Oh, yeah, now you're on specific type
I don't know,
list.
just like all that shit just...
Well, I think, well, companies do that because you have your one email that most people use, you know, to sign up for stuff, and then they sell that, and it's like cross-promotion, so that's why people are like, oh, my phone's listening to me. It's like, no, you just clicked on something. Someone else has your email, like this dude, like there was like...
Well, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
So, tell me how this happens. Then.
Okay.
Twice... the podcast for my sponsors, the sponsorship for my podcast. I got a new sponsorship, and I did the onboarding call with them.
Okay.
And then after I finished the onboarding call, I scrolled through Instagram, and the ad for that thing popped up.
Do you have your phone number with Instagram? In Instagram?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's like, phone number, email. So if you have your phone number and email connected to any like Instagram or like even like an
But what does that have to do with the brand? Like
no, because they sell these emails and your information and stuff, and they see that it's like, oh, they clicked on this ad with this email, because I've got an email.
But I didn't click on any ads.
Oh, it just, well, no, because your phone number was
I'm
in
saying the only thing, my only interaction with this brand.
I'll have to send you this link
was
to
doing
this guy
a phone
explaining
call,
it. Yeah.
talking about it.
So, I'll show you the link to this video, and then you can see if it makes sense. The phone number thing, I mean, yeah, it sounds like I'm like, oh, I never scrolled on anything, but it also has to do because our phones talk to each other too. So it's like if I'm by you, whatever ads you go over, I may start getting in my phone. You may start getting some weird ads for some crystals and stuff like that, just because we're in the same vicinity.
Yeah, I mean, it is too far gone where you're fucked, but it's just, obviously the people that are, like, pushing against it, I mean, as someone that speaks for a living, and they can just, you know, be like, we don't like this stuff he said in a group chat, let's take his YouTube channel away. And you'll never know, they'll say it's for something else.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
like,
Instagram refuses to verify me because of how much
and you'll never know why.
Oh, I know exactly why. Because of all my tweets that I keep tweeting them.
Right.
About them being sexist and stuff. So they don't...
so, you know.
They don't like that.
It's all scary stuff or whatever, but...
And then you add acid to that and see...
So that's why when when people start talking about the vaccine passports and they're against it, like, that's the part where I was kind of saying before, where I'm just like, maybe they're wrong here, even if you agree that they're wrong here. Like, that's how they get you.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you think this, so therefore you're stuck in this group right away, though I'm the complete
They get
opposite.
you to agree with it on something that you like.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden they have you in a database for the next thing.
Then you're this person. It's like, well, no, I'm actually not. Like, a lot of people automatically assume I'm like a Democrat or a liberal because I was important and stuff. I'm like, I'm actually a moderate Republican.
Yeah, you'll switch candidate to candidate.
Well, no, I mean... Democrats have always been a little bit better when it comes with just like civil liberties, like gay rights and rights for women and stuff like that. So it's always been that kind of stuff. It's just like, but when it comes with like states having more power, although after COVID, I'm like, I don't know if states should have more power.
Do you know when liberals got crazier? Probably.
When?
And I just thought of this as you're saying that. But do you know when it probably switched, where they maybe got crazier? Once everyone had all the rights.
Yeah, because they
think about that, because even we're talking about gay rights. I mean, actually, people have said this in some version of this, but like, you're talking about they were always better with the rights, like, like, you know.
And now they have the rights, and
now everyone has all the same rights, and they're kind of, they're. So now what?
Like, what else can we be mad about?
Oh, they don't. They're like, these guys don't want you to have rights, and you're like, everyone has all the same rights now.
Now it's with the pronouns. Well, now you have to say this pronoun.
So they're inventing rights.
Yeah.
But even them, they all still have the same rights, and they're like, well, it's a right to be able to have it on your birth certificate, and you're like, I don't know. It seems like you're making stuff up.
Oh, in certain states and stuff, yeah, you could totally have your license changed to the gender that you identify with.
Well, that I don't really even care as much about. It's like that.
It's like, who cares? Well, that's the thing. It's like, who, if they want to be, like, if they think that they're a woman or they feel that they're a man, then cool. Then let them. Are they killing people? Are they murdering, eating children? No. Then who gives a fuck?
Well, I guess the who gives a fuck comes from, you're like, I don't believe. It's never about the people, but you're like, I don't believe the people that are pushing all this stuff, that was what it was about for them. Because if it was, then once they agree to it, why does there seem to be like a new one where you go, well, then it's like, okay, well, what age? In the debate, it's always just keep going. But it's like, now the debate would be like, what age can you do it? You know?
Oh, yeah. Well, my girl, like, with trans, like, my girl Mia, she was 5 when she knew that she was a girl and not a dude. And her family let her, like, she was in a family that let her transition, and she's been a woman ever since. She's never regretted, you know, like, that's who she, a lot of those people, they really are that thing. Of course, there are people, I guess there's, like, this Chris Chan or something dude that, like, raped his, I guess a trans, but then there's people like that where I feel that some people may just be doing that, you know, as they're not genuine with it, and they're like, oh, I could be put in an all-female prison.
Well, the truth is, I don't even see how you could not get, like, that there's pros and cons. You're like, just like anything, it's like with how strict crime is, right? You're like, with a death sentence. Like, one side, you want to kill them. The other side, you're like, okay, well, yes, but potentially you're going to kill the wrong people.
Yeah.
Because what if people have obviously been innocent, they were guilty. Same with this, where you're like, okay, we think that 5-year-olds should be able to transition because of this. And you're like, yes, but obviously you're going to cut the genitals off of someone that was wrong because they were 5.
Yeah,
like, obviously, like, to even say that'll never happen.
Yeah.
And you go, obviously that's a cost. If you agree that's worth it.
Oh, yeah, it'd be like, then the genitals must be changed at that age.
You know what, like, that's the cost of, well, that's worth it because the ones that, like, if that's your argument, where it's worth it because someone, you go, okay, but, like, to dismiss where you go, no, that never happens. You go, well, now we're not having a conversation.
Yeah, because no, it absolutely does happen, and that's the thing.
Obviously,
yeah, and people.
One person that was given the death sentence, and then was proven innocent after. One. That's all you need is one for you to go, well, this does happen.
Yeah. Well, but now with the technology and stuff that they have now, where they have better testing of evidence, a blood sample, whatever.
Still happens.
Yeah.
There's people in jail right now for innocent things.
Oh, I mean, there's still people in jail for fucking weed, which is so disturbing. But I'm kind of for the death sentence. I like capital punishment.
But that's the art, and I'm not even. I get that.
Yeah.
But, like, to me, like, the argument against it is you're going to kill people you're going to kill innocent men, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
Just the same
but
way
statistically, that's not...
It's a fact at 1. And that's where... But that's where the liberty principle comes in. Like, if you're living in a society where you could potentially be murdered by your government for something you didn't do.
Yeah.
And then the other side is, like, can you be a 5-year-old that your parents agreed to having your penis cut off, and now you're 18, and
and now you want...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, again, all of it is, like, what society people want to live in. If you get in a house and you go, hey, we're going to be this society, I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Countries decide, like, that's what people always argue about, like, different countries. And I'm like, well, in Canada, I don't have the same principle for every country because it's like, what do the citizens want?
Yeah, and there's certain countries that, I mean, look at the Vietnam War. They were like, they did not want democracy.
A lot of them, if you go to Afghanistan right now and you go talk to anyone and you go, hey, do you guys want this thing where we can... 3-year-olds can change their gender. Like, I think it would be a pretty aggressive, like, no, we don't want to live in that society.
In that type of society,
so, I mean, right now it seems like it's a pretty good 50-50.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not big on women, if I remember correctly. The Taliban.
No.
they're not big on the ladies. I mean, they like the ladies to be very subservient and stuff like that. So that
sort of it's for the boys, that culture.
Yeah. Well, the boys are back in town.
I don't know if you've seen them, but they've been rocking out the Taliban.
Oh my god! I saw them at the gym. At the gym, they were at.
Gym's incredible.
The gym's incredible. They were, I remember, go-karts or some bumper cars. They were having a blast at the carnival.
I mean, that's what happens when you go with just the boys. The girls at home.
Hey, I have hung out with just the boys, and I am...
Well, they might let you come, though. They might be chill about it.
Right? I mean, I don't have a uterus anymore, so maybe I could pass off being one of the guys.
They might be chill, like some of the girls.
Be like a non-bleeder.
That's so funny.
Still a lady, but a non-bleeder. It may blow their mind.
They even said they were like,
we'll give women's rights. They can breathe.
No, they said we'll give them rights to the extent of Sharia law.
Yeah, which is none.
Sharia's, yeah.
Which is none. There's no rights. There's like a mayor, like they were getting women in politics. That's not going to happen. Makeup.
Yeah. The Blue Lives Matter people that they're talking about, like the Blue Lives, the Sharia lawmen, they mean business.
Oh, they do not fight. Obviously, they've been fighting this war for 20 years.
Right.
It's been longer than the Vietnam War. It's always the longest wars that are the most pointless, which is. And
it's crazy to be 18 there and you're like, you've been at war your entire life.
Yeah.
And you're a soldier for a war that's happened since you were born.
A couple of my friends who were in that war, they're like, what the fuck were we there for? Now, like, some of them are so fucked up, like, mentally and shit like that with shit that they've seen and done. They're like, it was for nothing. Yeah, and it's the exact same thing that the Vietnam War did to a lot of soldiers there, because it was a pointless war. Like, World War I, World War II, there was a purpose. You know, like, you're fighting Nazis, or you're fighting, like, actual, like, bad guys. Like you're trying to...
That's the narrative.
Yeah, and here it was like, but you just want democracy in these countries that don't necessarily want it. They think that it's like that person who's always trying to help that nobody needs help from.
You know what I was kind of thinking with the Afghanistan situation? Maybe this is bad for the drugs podcast. I don't know, but
they have all that heroin, like they are huge.
But it was making me laugh. It's kind of how America like left within 2 days. The Taliban took over, whatever. Mm-hmm. It was basically like they had it for 20 years. It was like the guy that has a girl that. He's like, no, she loves me, but he's really rich. Mm-hmm. And then, like, the minute he loses money, she's gone in 5 seconds.
Right.
But, like, the whole other time, like, no, we're in good shape.
No, my God, no,
yeah.
she'll never leave.
Yeah, and then he loses his job,
like,
and she's gone,
I only
like,
got $5.
by the weekend. Like, that's what they were like, no, we got this under control, like, blah, blah.
She takes all the jewelry. I'm that woman, by the way. I am 100%.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what happened that's with the Taliban. Like, America left, and you know.
And people did not really. I mean, yeah, there was a bunch of people that fled, and it does, like, it's horrible and terrifying. I'm sure, like Americans are never really gonna have to experience something like that, and so
ideally.
like yeah, it's easy to definitely make jokes about it and stuff like that. But the people there that did want, you know, a better life and not to be underneath like that strict fucking crazy Sharia law and stuff. Yeah, no, I feel bad, but at the same time, it's like. It's not the Americans. Why are we always trying to fight other people's money? I don't even know why. I don't even know why I'm asking questions already.
You know what it is.
That stuff costs money. I like money. What other? Okay, so have we ever done mushrooms together?
No, I don't even think I've done mushrooms since I moved to America. I do like a decent amount of drinking. I just don't. Yeah, I just don't really like do that much drugs. Yeah. It's almost like out of my routine.
Yeah.
Whereas,
well, because you do, like, you're always very work focused, and you're a little neurotic, like you're in your head a lot of times. Right. You know what I mean? So like, I think maybe we've done cocaine once.
Oh yeah, I've done coke since I've been here.
Yeah, well that. we've done that. I forgot.
But no, for me to be like an MDMA thing or even like mushrooms right now, it would have to be like an event. It wouldn't just be like, hey, want to do some? I'd be like, no.
I'm like on a Tuesday, I'm like, I'm doing mushrooms, and you're like, why?
No, exactly. And for me to just commit randomly to that, I'm like, no, I have shit to do. Like,
you have your schedule. Like, even sometimes, like, you'd be like, I have one beer, and you do actually stick. You only have like one, maybe two. Some of them may talk you into another one, but you've always been like, you have that self control that 90% of other comics do not.
No, I'm usually like, I never like accidentally fall into like a bender. It's like I'm pretty just like usually like I knew like tonight I'm gonna fucking rip it.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I have this, but yeah,
it's on the calendar almost.
Because before quarantine I had that like. Tuesdays was always my drinking day. Be like, okay, Tuesday is the day that I get to get hammered.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, you're a mess for the rest of the week. You have spots and you're fucking hungover and shit like that. And since quarantine has been kind of over, like, because I'm still not going out as much, but when I do go out, I get fucking wasted. I'm like, I need to stop that. So the past couple of weeks, I've been purposely going out every night and not drinking.
Okay.
And it's been okay.
Right.
But I'm still kind of on that quarantine thing where
I don't do very much of that.
Yeah, it's like I notice the more I go out, the less I drink. But if I'm only going out once in a while and then I'm with friends and stuff, I'm like,
right. If you're going out a ton and then you're drinking every night, it's like, but for me, I just don't go out a ton. But I would do the comedy clubs, but then I go home.
Yeah, it's easier, especially like if you only have, like for me, like the last couple times I've had spots, it's like been one or two, and then like I'll wait, like I purposely wait until after like the second set. It'd be like, okay, now I get get drunk or whatever, and like still trying to, because the last couple times like.
Well, otherwise it's like a waste.
Yeah, and like you are trying to like do your job too. Like it is a job.
I can do comedy good drunk, but I'm not getting anything done.
Yeah.
Like I'm not really trying no new stuff.
I don't feel like productive.
No, I just go do it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm just doing this.
Which is fine for a late show on Saturday. You're like, whatever, we're just kind of hanging.
Yeah.
We're partying.
And that's the problem, is that a lot of times our job is kind of like a hang and a party.
Right, but if I'm not getting anything done, then why did I do the spot? I could have just done actual work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's...
Yeah, so with stand-up, I'm always kind of like that, where I'm just like, all right, we got to be...
I've never, have you ever done stand-up, like, on mushrooms or anything like that?
On coke.
Yeah, I've tried it. I've done it twice now. I
have.
Yeah.
I did tons of weed shows, and
yeah.
I'm worse. I'm not worse. Drunk, I'm like barely, like it's fine.
Yeah.
Coke, even fine. Weed, I like was objectively a little worse.
Okay.
I think, but that's also because maybe it was longer ago. Maybe I maybe wouldn't have been so much, but
not so much. The first time I tried doing stand up on coke was at like a late night show at like the Huron Club or something like that. You know, one of those fucking crazy shows, and I was like, oh, I do not like this, because you know.
Well, instead of moving on instinct, you're thinking. It's the absolute last thing you want to do in anything.
Yeah.
Same with like sports, like fighting. You never want to be thinking. You want to be moving on instinct.
Yeah.
And your years of doing this are honing your instincts. But like to actually consciously think
about it was horrible. The second time was fairly recently. It was only a bump though, and I was like, I have to go on stage. I'm like, no, this is gonna end up horribly. And I was fine.
Coke's fine if you don't do too much.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is that I was pretty jacked up the first time. This time it was like one bump. I'm like, okay, I'm fine. This is fine.
You're less funny on coke, though. I find that's the most less funny drug.
Absolutely.
That's why it was weird when like a lot of comics do it. Everyone wants to do coke, and I'm just like, I'd rather everyone didn't, because
right, especially like if it's my show, I'm like, can you please wait till after the show at least? Like that's always, I always wait until like after.
Dude, it turns like the most funny person into like
yeah, like kind of angry. I was because it was just a guest spot, so it was only like a 5-minute set, so that was like it was quick and it was like easy or whatever.
Oh, by the way, with drinking, that's a big thing. It's like it's easier to do the 20-minute spots. When you get up to an hour, it starts. I think the audience starts like everyone feels collectively a little
but
unless you like are actually ramping up the way you're ramping up at a party.
Yeah, which is phenomenal, and those are always some of the best and like funnest sets too, when everyone's kind of on the same level.
But if it's the opposite, like if it's like drunk and then it starts to get a little more slurry, the audience starts to stop paying attention, like
it'd be like, oh, she's wasted.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
But if it's like if the whole hour can be a rev up, but
and then that takes skill, that takes a practice.
Practiced alcoholic.
I definitely have like a 2-3 drink minimum for my spots. When I do spots, I don't want to do more than that. Otherwise, like minimum? It's fine. Drink, before, like if I'm doing like a couple of shows or whatever, like I don't want to drink. I can't drink more than that.
You can't drink less than that?
No, I can't drink more than that.
You said minimum, so you mean maximum.
Oh, yeah, maximum, yeah.
I gotcha. I'm just like, minimum?
I'm like, I'm drunk now. No, maximum. Otherwise, I do, like, it will be slurry. I'll forget shit. I'll start doing my porn jokes. Anytime I do my porn jokes, be like, oh, you're hammered, because those are the only ones I'll remember.
Oh, you remember?
You're like, these ones are good to go. All right. Hopefully, I get to edit this fun...
You'll be able to.
I'll be.
That's like a standard.
Yeah, if anything, I do have the sound from the video.
Sure, but that is a standard.
Okay, and maybe it just needs some time to warm up.
No, you won't get on there. The file's corrupt, but you can fix corrupt files.
God damn it!
It's not a big deal. This is like standard.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send it to you.
You can try. You can send it to me. I'll try.
Okay. Where can people find you?
The Boys Cast with Ryan Long every Friday, and YouTube.com/Ryan Long Comedy video every Monday.
Yeah, you do have great videos.
Thank you.
I love your videos. The racist, anti-racist, or woke one.
That was a big one.
That was.
That was the one that like was a year ago, and it just keeps popping up. Like,
yeah, I mean, because it's very relevant, and a lot of people didn't like it. I'm like, oh, you have issues with that. You're probably racist.
Yeah, people got mad, but I mean, whatever.
People are always gonna get mad. It was funny.
I mean, more people didn't get mad, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, the point of it is that it's funny, and that's the thing, is that if you can't laugh at shit like that, then obviously you still have some feelings about it.
Well, some of it's, it's whatever, but yeah, I feel like I've talked about that video so fucking much.
So much, you don't have to talk
bring it
about
up, but it's so funny when people are like, I know a million black guys that are like, stop calling me like a person of color comic show. Just call it a comedy show.
Yeah.
Like I've heard, and then they go, no, that's not true. And I go, okay, you're right. I lied. He didn't say that to me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It also just depends on individual people.
Of course.
Well, like there's certain people I can say the N-word around, and then most of the majority I cannot. Do I still say the N-word? No, I do not. Not unless he asks me to. When he's inside me. Anyways, you can find the How to Do Drugs podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts. How to Do Drugs Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Please rate and subscribe to the show on any platform that you listen to, iTunes and stuff like that. I haven't been asking for that, so that's probably why I don't have any. So if you have the time, take that 2 seconds. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, bye.